Jim Knowles brought a safety-driven defense to Ohio State last year. The safeties were at times a big part of Ohio State's success. At times they made some mistakes and left some big plays on the field, and those are some of the lasting impressions people have of Ohio State football in 2023, and especially from that secondary. So we just watched practice number 5 here on Tuesday at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com, along with Andrew Gillis and Stephen Means. Perry Eliano, Ohio State safeties coach, was here for interviews today. He's not committing to the 3 guys that we saw together the most as being the starting group, but that was Jahad Carter at adjuster, transfer from Syracuse, Lathan Ransom at bandit, returning starter, Sonny Styles at nickel, who Eliano describes as a unicorn and is like the most anticipated thing at Ohio State in a hot minute. So, Steven, do you think the starting safety group, whether it's those 3 guys, we think it probably is, or whoever they end up with, will the starting safeties in 2023 be better than last year when it was Ransom, Ronnie Hickman, and Tanner McAllister, who are both in NFL camps right now?
Yes, starting at nickel, Sonny Styles has more upside than Tanner McAllister. So, yeah. I think they're going to use Lathan Ransom as a weapon. I wrote that back in the spring, and then seeing him in person today, he is big. And he said he attributed some of that to this is his first full real offseason here. He didn't early enroll in 2020. 2021, he got hurt at the end of that year. And so then coming into 2022, he's dealing with that all offseason. Being able to just actually have some physical growth has helped him. He said the Big Ten needs big safeties. So he looks ready for them to use him as a weapon at safety the same way that linebacker they use Tommy Eichenberg as a weapon. And then Jahad Carter, his experience, I think he said at Syracuse he's played all 3 of those safety roles, so he brings that to the table. And it's why it was so easy for them to figure out, maybe the adjuster role is better for him than maybe that nickel role. I think that trio and the versatility they bring to the table where you're not really sure where guys lined up because they can play all of those spots, but then also the ceiling is just higher. So while it might not always look great in week 1, by week 12, I do think that trio is going to clearly be better than it was last year. And with what Lathan Ransom brings production-wise and what Sonny Styles is as a talent, they should probably be in the conversation for best safety trio in the Big Ten at least.
Andrew, you weren't here last year. You didn't follow this team on a day-to-day basis, but you're obviously aware that there were some defensive shortcomings that cost him in the biggest games of the year. What are you hearing right now that leads you to believe that that will be better or not going into 2023?
Well, the number one thing that guys talked about today was just being in year 2 of a system, and like Lathan kind of mentioned this, like this is the first time that he has not had a major change, coach, scheme, something like that. Like this is the first time that he's been able to go into a second year of a scheme, a system, a coach. Like there's not a major change happening. And I think that really matters because one of the things that he talked about, I asked him that specific question, what changes in year 2 like that with the whole defense conceptually? And the number one thing he said was, what the Mike's doing now. You know what the Will's doing now. So this is not just, hey, they know their positions. They have a better understanding of what their positions are doing, what the safety positions are doing. They have an entire fundamental understanding of the defense. They're able to take a step back, look at the entire picture and say, okay, this is the goal. This is the end game. This is what we're trying to accomplish on this particular set or against this particular quarterback or when this particular quarterback rolls out to his left or to his right. Like there are so many different things that matter, I think, in a year 2 of a defense, especially a complex one like this. When safety, you mentioned safety-driven defense, the safeties here are so important and so crucial. I just think having a better understanding of that and maybe better athletes, especially with Sonny Styles there, you got to be feeling good about the safeties going into this year.
Jim Knowles was asked last week, what's the bigger deal? That you have a year more experience with these guys and have a better understanding of their talent, or that these guys have a year of experience in your system? And he said, no question, it's a second thing. That these guys are just more comfortable. They are, it's just more natural to them. They can feel it better than they did this first year. And I think that's going to show up on the field, or at least it should show up on the field. If it isn't showing up on the field, I think that's bad news for Ohio State. But I think you're right, Andrew, that this is a group that there's going to be a lot of talk right now about depth and all those things. I think the most crucial thing is for them to find the 3 guys who lead this room. And the 3 guys who fit the best together, but the 3 guys who can just go out there and be the most sound and make the most plays. Last year, what was hurting them wasn't necessarily that they had guys out there who couldn't play. I think at times it was just breakdowns in the system. Guys were getting left one-on-one without help. That was happening with corners. It was happening with safeties too. There just needs to be a tighter approach to defense, and I think just the year of experience alone, even if you're switching out some personnel, is going to help this whole group be better. We're going to talk about that more on Buckeye Talk. Get that wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. It's a $3.99 per month, but the first 2 weeks, it's a free trial. Sign up, try us for 2 weeks, and see how you like us at Buckeye Talk.